We are continuing to track the latest on the deadly shooting on the set of the movie Rust. And joining us now live to talk about the investigation is criminal defense attorney David Shapiro. And David, the Santa Fe County District Attorney said figuring out how the gun that Alec Baldwin fired became loaded with live rounds will be key in deciding whether to bring possible criminal charges in this case. What are the investigators looking at this point?
Well, they're looking at a couple of things at this point. The first thing they're looking at is how did the live rounds get on the set in New Mexico? Because what we know, based on looking at what we've seen obviously in the press conference today and reading the investigation and the application for the search warrant, is that the guns were locked up, but the ammunition was not secured. So how the ammunition, live ammunition, got into the gun before it was handed to Baldwin, who it was handed to Baldwin by, and under what circumstances are all factors that the prosecution and the investigators are looking at.
And you just mentioned and who it was handed to Baldwin by. The DA would not comment on whether any charges will be filed right now, but did say that all options are on the table. And we know the assistant director is the one that handed Alec Baldwin the loaded weapon and admitted to investigators that he didn't check all the rounds loaded beforehand. So what is the threshold that could decide if the AD or even Baldwin right now, anyone in this film could face charges?
Yeah, what they're going to be looking at right now is involuntary manslaughter in the state of New Mexico. And it's comparable to a degree to what involuntary manslaughter is here in California, in that they're looking at the level of criminal negligence and how reckless was the assistant producer. Because what we know and what's been alleged is that this is the individual prior to handing the gun to Baldwin said cold gun or cold round, implying that that gun was actually checked and that there was nothing in there that was a live round. So that's something that Baldwin presumably relied upon, but looking at the assistant producer handing him that gun, clearly he did not do his job. Otherwise, he would have realized that there was in fact a live round in a chamber.
You mentioned about negligence versus involuntary manslaughter. New Mexico does involuntary manslaughter, a higher threshold there?
No, it's actually one and the same. New Mexico's involuntary manslaughter, as I've read it, sort of is a hybrid between misdemeanor manslaughter in California and California's involuntary manslaughter, which really relies upon principles of criminal negligence. No one is saying that Baldwin intended to shoot or harm this woman who unfortunately and tragically lost her life, or even the other individual who was struck by the same bullet in his shoulder. What they would be looking at as it relates to Baldwin, as it relates to everyone else on set, is did they do something that fell far below the standards of what an ordinary person would do? And were they so careless or were they so reckless that this could have certainly been prevented? And then the issue is it the right move to actually file criminal charges, or is this something better left for the civil courts?
Are there different thresholds, the criminal versus the civil?
Absolutely. Criminal is proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Civil is a significantly lower standard. And in criminal, you have to look at it from this perspective of what the consequences could be. In New Mexico, this charge could carry a punishment of 18 months, up to 18 months in prison. Not to say that anyone, Alec Baldwin or anyone associated with this, would get any jail time, let alone up to 18 months. But certainly it would be easier to secure a civil verdict than it would be a guilty verdict at trial, due to the high burden of proof in a criminal case.
Clearly a complex investigation. From your knowledge in cases like this, what are you thinking? The AD may be very different than Alec Baldwin in this case, but both people are going to say, I didn't know. What's your hunch on this?
Well, I mean, my hunch is that it's going to take some time. I mean, they went to painstaking lengths today, both law enforcement as well as the prosecutor out in New Mexico and Santa Fe County, to talk about how this is very early in the process and this is an ongoing investigation. And whereas a lot of the public may want them to make a decision quickly, they're certainly not going to. I think where Baldwin falls into a little bit of hot water here, in addition, obviously, to the obvious fact that he was the one who pulled the trigger that ultimately led to the tragic loss of life, is that he was also, I think, an executive producer to some degree. So he bears responsibility as well under the criminal negligence standard for everyone working under him. And there's also the allegation that the individual in charge of the weapons on set had a history of being negligent when it comes to weapons and handling them. And that could be very catastrophic in a criminal case and certainly as it relates to the civil liability.
Oh, interesting point you just made on there. And defense attorney David Shapiro, we appreciate it. Hope that you'll come back during the course of this case as it unfolds.
I certainly will. Thanks for having me.
And have a great day. Thank you.